are wide awake. Yes. Hello. Oh, you smile, Mommy. Yeah. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another video. Today we have a very special guest with us, my little baby boy. And today I'm going to be sharing with you guys my postpartum update and the update on baby. And I'll just be kind of giving you guys a run through of everything that me and baby have been through in the past month. He's a little bit fussy. He's a little bit fussy. A little bit fussy right now because you need some attention. Is that why? Oh, you guys have big burpees. Yeah. Yeah, so I wanted to kind of film this during his awake window so that you guys could actually like see him and meet him and see how he acts when he's awake. But at the same time, sometimes when he's awake, he can be a little bit irritable depending on if he's wanting a little bit more milk or if he has his 15th poop of the day, or sometimes he's just very, very gassy. Like he's been an extremely gassy baby. Yeah, when I had my first child, when I had my daughter Aleythea 2 years ago, she was a very, very fussy baby, like extremely fussy. She was very, very challenging. But Augie has been a lot easier, a lot more calm. Yes, you have. You've just been a little angel. Because Augie is awake right now, I think I'll give you kind of like the update about him first, and then later on in the video, I'll talk about everything that I've gone through postpartum. So yeah, Augie is doing super, super well. He's a super happy boy, like I said. He is a little bit different than other newborns in the fact that like most newborns, they say will sleep, like wake every 2 hours to eat and then go back to bed. They stay awake for like about an hour before they go back to bed. They just wake up to eat, get a bum change, interact a little bit, and then they're right back to sleep. And Augie, he's so different because he will stay up for like 2-3 hours at a time, but then when he sleeps for quite a bit. Like I think it was the second night that we came home, he slept a whole 5 hours at night. And he's been doing that often. Like we don't often get 5 hours, but it's not uncommon that he'll go like 3-4 hours at night especially. So he sleeps a lot, but then when he's awake for a longer period. Every nurse, every doctor is gonna tell you the same thing. They're gonna tell you that you should wake your baby every 2 hours to eat. And I was told that at first too, but when I took Augie to his 2-week checkup, they watched me breastfeed and they watched me pump, and they're like, wow, I haven't seen that much milk in a really long time. And they were really impressed with how much milk I had, and they were also really impressed with his weight gain, because I guess most babies in their first week or two will actually lose a little bit of weight and then they'll gain it back. But Augie never did lose weight. He was just straight to gaining weight. So he has been getting plenty of milk, so they gave me the go-ahead to just like let him sleep as much as he wants, which has been really nice for me because after you have a baby, you can be really, really tired, really exhausted, and it just takes a little bit of getting used to. So because he hasn't been waking up every 2 hours, it's definitely given me a little bit of extra rest that is much needed, especially because I have a toddler to take care of, and I can't just like sleep when he sleeps because I'm always having to take care of my toddler from like 7 a.m. to 7 at night. It's a full-time job. Yes, it is. So yeah, he sleeps really, really good. When he's awake, now that he's 1 month old, he's starting to be a little more interactive. He still doesn't do a whole lot, but he's starting, like the other day he just made his like first little coo. So he's starting to make a little bit of sounds, and he's starting to make a little bit of like facial expressions. Usually when babies make a facial expression, it's just because they have gas. So if they have to like fart or something, they might smile and you're like, oh, he's smiling at me. And really he's just gassy. But he is, I think, starting to get a little bit smiley because when I talk to him sometimes, or I'm interacting with him, he does start to smile and kind of acknowledge me. So I'm hoping that's not just gas, and I hope he's happy to see his mama, but you never know. Speaking of gas, he is an extremely gassy baby, like extremely, extremely gassy. My daughter was the same way. It's like when I do bicycles like this, like when I put him down like this, he gets very tense and very irritable. So I put him down on the bed like this, and I do bicycles like this. He runs a little race, and I put his feet up towards his chest, and so many times it's like, he's doing it right now. He's just tooty. He's such a tooty boy. He loves to go for walks. Probably like the motion of the stroller. I lay him down in the bassinet, and the motion of the stroller and the bumps and everything, that really soothes him. He also loves the car. Like Aleythea, she hated the car. Every single time she was in the car, she would cry. But Augie has loved the car. He's barely said boo. He has been co-sleeping with us. We have the crib right there, and our idea was to put him in the crib. Especially my husband, he's kind of like to the book, like they say to not sleep with your baby, so let's not sleep with our baby. And that's what we did with Aleythea when she was a newborn. We didn't sleep with her. But with Augie, we just noticed right away, like the first night we brought him home, he would fall asleep instantly if he was beside us, and then every time we put him in the crib, he would wake up. So I'm not recommending co-sleeping to you guys or anything like that. I know it's not recommended, but at the same time, I think like there's no judgment, you know, no judgment on my part, and whatever works for you and your family, and it allows everybody in my house to get sleep. So that's kind of everything I have to say about how Augie's been doing. We have just been enjoying this month of getting to know him and just learning how to be a mom again to a newborn, because every single stage is so different and each stage goes by so quickly. So even though it was only 2 years ago since I had a newborn, it still kind of feels new and like a learning curve, but I definitely feel more experienced than I did with my daughter. Come say hi. Speaking of my daughter, here she comes. Look, say hi. Hi, baby. Yeah, say hi to Augie. Hi, baby. Hi, Augie. Oh, I know, he's starting to get a little fussy. Where's his soother? Where's his sook-sook? Where's his sook-sook? Oh, I see it. It's right there. You see it on the ground? Aleythea has been loving being a big sister. When she first met Augie, I think she didn't really realize that he was real. Augie's the first real infant that she's seen. Like she's a really good big sister. She gives him lots of kisses, wants to give him toys and play with him, and she's really, really sweet. But at the same time, she doesn't know her own strength. So it can be like a little bit scary at times because she gets really, really excited and she just wants to play with him, and she doesn't understand that he can't play yet. So she'll like jump by him or run by him, or, you know, I'm just always paranoid that she's gonna hurt him. Cheese. Pretend it's a picture, Cheese. Cheese. I love you. I love you and I love Augie. Okay, so now that I told you all about Augie, what's wrong? I will tell you guys how my experience postpartum went. This go around went really, really well actually. In a previous video, I think it was my hospital bag video, I was telling you guys how rough postpartum was and how it's like, it was traumatizing. With my daughter, I only had 1 tear and 1 stitch. And my recovery, I just felt beaten up. Like I felt so sore, so weak. I was in excruciating pain, especially when I went to the bathroom. Urine burns, and the stitch was poking in at one of my tears, and it was so painful. So I was traumatized, and I was well prepared thinking that this go around would be a very similar experience. I just thought that that's what happens after birth. You go through a really rough recovery and a really rough period. But I'm pleased to tell you guys that that's not always the case. I don't know if it was that it was my second baby or, you know, just every birth and every labor is different. But this go around with my recovery with Augustus, it was really, really good, honestly. After I had the baby, I did have the epidural, but when the epidural wore off, I was up walking right away. I was showering I showered the next morning all by myself. I rated my pain a 0. The only time that I experienced pain in postpartum was actually when I breastfed. So when you breastfeed, it naturally induces contractions to help your uterus go back in place. And those contractions were really, really painful. It was kind of similar to labor, to be honest. So yeah, those contractions when your uterus is kind of like going back to place, that was when I had pain, and I'd probably rate it like a 7 out of 10, but it didn't last long. And it only lasted the first couple days postpartum. So that was really good. Barely any pain. Bleeding, I barely had any bleeding. Instantly after delivering, my bleeding was pretty mild. Like, I wasn't even filling a maxi pad. I wasn't even filling a regular pad. I did still wear like massive diapery underwear just in case, because they say that you can bleed up to 6 weeks. Like, my sister, I'm pretty sure she told me that she had so much blood and she bled the whole 6 weeks. So every person is different. So yeah, I barely had any bleeding. It lasted about 2 weeks for me. And after 2 weeks, it was just like very, very little, and it would kind of like start and stop. So I'd be like, oh yes, my bleeding's finished, and then I'd stop wearing a pad, and then the next day I'd bleed a little bit more. So even if you stop bleeding, it may not be the complete end of it, just a heads up. I recommend like having different sizes of pads, because when you have like a little bit of bleeding, you're not gonna wanna feel like wearing those giant maxi pads. So that's where I could have done better, is I could have had like the maxi pad for when I was bleeding a lot, but then when my bleeding kind of stopped, I could have switched to like a panty liner or just like a very light pad. In regards to my energy levels, I have just had a lot of energy. Even right after having the baby, like the first night, I feel like I got a decent amount of sleep, and I feel like I have been getting a decent amount of sleep, and my energy has just been like through the roof. Like, I think I'm just super excited about having a new baby, and I was super excited to share the baby with the world and show him off to all my family and friends. So it was actually really hard for me to just lay in bed and rest. My whole family was like, Allie, you shouldn't be up walking around right now. You should just be in bed. You shouldn't be taking your daughter to the park 3 days postpartum. Like, just take it easy. And that's totally important. You need to do that. You need to take it easy. But it was just honestly a little bit hard for me because I didn't have pain, and Augie slept so good right from the beginning. So I didn't have like that 6 weeks recovery. I was ready to go in just a couple days, so that was awesome. I have been breastfeeding, and breastfeeding has been going really, really well. Augie latched right away and has just been a champ. It's been super easy. 2 weeks ago, I had a clogged milk duct, and that was extremely painful. And it's literally like, when you get that, not only is it really painful on your breast, but you also get like flu-like symptoms. So I was like sick. I had the chills, I had a fever, my like breast was like bright red and like a lumpy, and it was so painful. So when that happened, I just had to like pump a lot and constantly feed Augie to try to empty my breast every single time. And you have to do that for like a solid 2 days to finally get that milk duct unclogged. I also used like a hot compress and hot showers, hot baths to get rid of it. So that has been painful. That is a con of breastfeeding. It is avoidable, kind of, but that was not so fun. And also like leaky nipples. The amount of clothes, like I wear, not all the time, but I try to remember to wear nursing pads to catch any of the leaking, but literally I was like at Carter's like getting some clothes for Augie not too long ago, and I'm in the store and I'm realizing like my whole one boob is just like leaking through my shirt, and I'm like paying at the till and I'm like, excuse me, like, do you have some like Kleenex or something, because I have a problem here? And she's like, oh, no worries, I've been there. So I'm just like stuffing my nursing bra full of like tissue. That was awkward. Something that's been different this time around than when I had my daughter is that I haven't had any like cracked nipples or bleeding nipples. And I don't know if that's because I breastfed my daughter for 1.5 years, so maybe my nipples are like more tough and more durable. But when I fed Augie, like they were fine. I never had any pain. But if that happens to you, I suggest, like if you're really struggling with like pain when you're breastfeeding and cracked nipples and bleeding, I recommend talking to a lactation consultant or even just like a nurse, because they really helped me making sure my latch was right. And if your latch is right, then you're less likely to have like any cracked nipples or bleeding. So definitely make use of those nurses because they have a lot of knowledge. Alright, so the final thing that I'm going to be talking about in this postpartum update is body image and what your body, or well, what my body is looking like postpartum. I'm going to say right now that I'm not going to bother showing my body on camera on what my postpartum body looks like, because I think it's really unhealthy to compare yourself to other women's bodies. Every woman their body is going to look completely different, whether you have stretch marks, no stretch marks, whether you gained some weight, didn't gain some weight, and no matter what, your body went through such a beautiful, beautiful gift. It's amazing to be pregnant and to have a baby, and your body is now the image of that. So all I'm going to say about what my body's looking like and how I'm feeling is I feel extremely weak. I feel like I have no muscle tone, and my skin feels loose and just a little bit sloppy. And you know what? That's okay, because you can make healthy choices. You can start some light exercise, or you know, after your 6 weeks, you can go full out and really get back in shape. Another thing I want to say about body image after birth is when you push out a baby, you're gonna go to the bathroom and you're gonna be looking in the hospital mirror and you're gonna go, oh my God, I still look pregnant. And I'm here to tell you that that is completely normal. It takes time, and quite a bit of time actually, for your body to go back to normal. Yeah, love your body, treat yourself well, and don't compare yourself to other people's bodies. So that is the end of today's video, guys. If there was anything that I didn't cover, or if there's like a question that you guys have, feel free to message me in the comments below, or find me on Instagram. Find a way to message me. I will for sure answer all of your guys' questions in my next video. I wish you a very positive postpartum experience. I was really excited to actually film this video because, like I said in previous videos, I was traumatized. I was telling you guys, like, it's rough, just get prepared. But it's not always that way. Like, I don't know if it's just luck of the draw or if it's the fact that it's my second baby, but I had a really positive postpartum experience. And not everyone is gonna have that, but I wish that you do, and I wish you heal up quickly, and I wish you have all the energy in the world, and I wish you no pain and that you can just really enjoy your time with your newborn. So thank you guys so much for tuning in today's video. I hope it was really, really useful and comes in handy for you guys, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!